Hello. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully, you've got all the things you need. You've got space to move and settle in, and we'll get started. You can let yourself close your eyes if that is comfortable. If not, you just have a slight gaze a few feet in front of you. You're paying attention to how it feels in your body. You're trying to set aside the thoughts, the storylines in your head at this time. Some days it's easier than others. Keep practicing. Make sure that you are comfortable. If your feet start and legs start to get tingly, any part of you starts to hurt, please adjust so that is no longer happening. And your breath getting fuller and deeper. Right here in the present moment is all you need to pay attention to. Setting aside negative talk and self-doubt. I'm really trying to cultivate that compassionate and loving voice to yourself. If you started that 3-part yoga breath where you fill up the lower third of your lungs, then the middle third, then the upper third on the inhale, and then when you release in reverse. You exhaled upper third, middle third, lower third. That exchange, that in and out, that give and take, that is the rhythm of the universe. You connecting to that give and take, that in and out, helps you get better at taking in exactly what you need and also letting go of exactly what you need. It also helps you hold on and make valuable what it is that is most valuable to you. And then it also helps you not even, consider or take in something that you don't need or want. All done with no guilt, no shame. Feel yourself press down into your space. You are engaging your body as much as feels good, so tilting that pelvis, pulling the back down, the front up, pressing your knees away, flexing your feet, and gently pressing down into the floor below you so you feel that connection, that support, how you root down into that place. And then feel yourself lift and rise from where you've rooted down and stretch yourself into that space around you that you are meant to take up. So you can start to engage that upper body if it feels good, lifting the heart, pulling the blades down and gently engaging them, not squeezing them. You might feel a slight pressure or stretch on your collarbone, the tops of your shoulders, especially if you press then the top of your head, the crown of your head up to the sky. And you're breathing that 3-part yoga breath, and maybe the breath has gotten fuller, so you're filling up when you fill up the lower third, you press the navel into the space in front of you. When the middle third fills up, you feel those ribs move up and apart. And then when the breath goes into the upper third, you feel that heart move up in the chest. And then exhaling, heart and chest relax, ribs move down and together, and then you pull that navel back and up into your body. So staying with that awareness of your body in space, right here, right now. cultivating that kind and loving voice to yourself, compassion, being very gentle and aware of your most delicate parts in your body and always protecting them. And you, of course, are the ultimate teacher of yourself, so you always know. So make sure that you are always doing what is best for you. Your hands can come to your heart, and you can take a moment to set any personal intention you might have for our time together. Maybe something you're trying to take in more of, or maybe something you're trying to let go of. Keep practicing that. Doesn't matter what it is. It's the act of. And then on your next inhale, if you want to open your eyes, you can. We're going to stretch those arms up above our heads, gathering in that good juju. Exhale, pulling down into your heart center 2 more times. Inhaling, exhaling, 3rd time. And then you can let yourself unwind, to let yourself, the blood start to flow. Do whatever feels good. Maybe windshield wiper feels good. Maybe a gentle little bounce on the floor feels good. Maybe a gentle rolling of the ankles feel good. Maybe some combination of all that feels good. I want you to be aware of your body and what it feels like to move, and hopefully it feels amazing in whatever you choose, or close to amazing. All right, then find yourself back into just a comfortable, easy pose. Maybe pay attention to which leg was in front or on top the first time. And they don't have to be like really close to your body. They can be kind of extended. It's just to give, right, you a little bit more balance. Your hands could be on your legs or off to the side, and you are moving in this circular motion. It helps to really engage your legs so you have that supported base as you move around, getting that massage on your bottom, and then getting that length, so then that stretch of the low back. And then you're going to pause, doesn't matter where you pause, to then reverse, so go in an opposite direction. And of course, if you want to pause anywhere where, like, if you want to, like, moving back and forth, like I can really feel it in that hip right there, that feels amazing. Inhale and exhale, couple more times, couple more breaths, and then back to seated, just breathing full and deep, and feel your body move back into its natural state, right, where you're not moving, where you're just sitting, and notice if you feel a little difference. And then we're going to bring ourselves over onto our hands and knees. Make sure you've got cushion. Oh wait, I was going to take my socks off. Press yourself back into that child's pose. Really feeling yourself take up the space that you're in right here, right now. Reaching your arms forward, keeping those girdles engaged, so you're always pulling down the back body. You're always lifting the front body. Inhaling and exhaling. Using these blocks like I am does add a little bit more intensity. So if you see it and you want to try it, please do. But if it's too much, go back to not using them. And I'm talking just for this child, because using them for like support when you come into your warriors and stuff, I don't think it adds too much intensity there. Well, it could, depending on how you use them, but it's always there to support you. Inhaling and exhaling, staying with your breath. And then lifting yourself up into that stable table. So you are pressing down with your whole self and lifting up with your whole self. I'm going to take this off because it's so flowy. All right, so I've got those hands underneath your shoulders, you've got those knees underneath your hips, and you are holding yourself in your trunk just like you did before, pulling that back body down, lifting that front body. You're engaging that pelvis, going through a few teeny tiny cat and cows at the pelvis. So you feel that engagement, pulling that tail down, pull the blades together then, so you're engaging your girdles, and then that cat and cow is right in the middle, breathing full and deep. So think about trying to drop your lowest rib down to the floor when you come into that cow, and when you pull up into the cat, really think about trying to hollow your front belly out, which actually having your front belly pulled up, that navel engaged, helps to get that feeling in both moves. Inhaling and exhaling, you're going to pause in a neutral position, and if you want to walk your hands and knees a little bit further apart, because we're going to make some circles here, you're in charge of how big they are. You can come back into that child, you can come forward into kind of a modified cobra. It doesn't matter which way you started to go. Paying attention to your wrists and your knees, you're not hurting yourself. Inhaling and exhaling, you're going in all the directions, breathing full and deep, navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel, and then eventually you're going to press yourself back into your child, resting completely down, being very gentle with your wrists. So if you do feel sensation, you're being like a lot of sensation. Even if you're holding yourself in your trunk, you can still feel it, so you're being very careful with your wrists. You're breathing full and deep, navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. And then lift yourself up into that table position. I love blocks for this next thing we're going to do. So it's up to you if you want to add them, but you're in that stable table. You're going to and make sure you've got room behind you and next to you. You're going to send that right leg behind you, pressing through that heel. Pay attention to where that right foot is. Even take a gander back to make sure that the toes are pointed down, your kneecap is pointed down and lifted, and then holding yourself in your trunk, and only if it serves you, reach that opposite limb. So you're in that beautiful spinal balance, inhaling and exhaling. Remember, you do not have to have two limbs lifted. If you get them both lifted, and if you're like, nope, I just want to press back with the leg, then bring that left arm down. We're going to take 2 more breaths here. Really pull down that back body, lift that front body, and then bring that left hand down if you don't have it, if you do have it up, and then you're going to pull that right knee, and I know you can't really see, but you do know what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to pull that right knee towards that right arm. And I'm going to turn this way. And yeah, we're in the fire hydrant. So you are staying even in both upper body, arm, right arm, left arm. You've got that right knee lifted. It hurts like a mother, I know. If you want to make some movement, do a few little circles or a few little pulses. If you want to keep yourself static, then be static. You're not hyperextending those elbows. And then after one more inhale, exhale, this is where you press it back for that sweet, sweet, sweet relief. And then this is where we go into a little bit of a quad stretch now. Bend that right knee. And if you want to reach that left hand back, you do not have to get that right ankle. You are just reaching in that direction. Inhale and exhale. And then remember, we did right leg, left arm. You're going to press yourself back into that child. Notice exactly how you feel, how as your body settles back into that natural state and you're breathing full and deep. And notice how you've made a change and a shift in things that are going on. Making sure that you're drinking whatever you need to drink to keep yourself hydrated. Stay with your breath. passionate voice in your head. Even if you found it really difficult and you found yourself like spilling down, the fact that you're doing it means that it's gonna work, right? That's how it works. It's like if you're doing it, that's the magic. The process is just as amazing as the results, but everybody wants the results, right? They don't want the process, they just want the results. All right, up into your table, you're pressing down evenly through all your limbs. You are keeping your trunk nice and square, so the front body square to the mat, the back body square to the ceiling. You're pressing back through that left heel now, and take a gander back. That helps me to figure out if my foot, it took me forever to like get my awareness down to my, left foot. And now but I regularly practice paying attention to my whole body. So it's not as hard anymore. All right, you're going to reach that right arm, that right limb, only if it serves you and you are breathing full and deep. Keep lifting yourself as you stretch. It's all the things. Inhale and exhale. And then, because they're amazing and I love them, bring that right arm down. Yeah, I said it. I love these. I love these so much. Bring that left. I do. I'm not even making it up. I love these. This one of those moves that I have seen the progression of, like how yoga works and how it does what it says it does, right? It strengthens you and it stretches you and it opens you. You're doing whatever feels good to you as we breathe here. Keep pressing evenly down with the right and the left arm into the right and the left side of your trunk, and then let that left leg, sweet relief. I have a yoga teacher that says, thank God asana, which is exactly what that feels like to me too. All right, keep that trunk engaged. Only if you want to do the reach quad stretch, and this is a big, can hurt joints. Look how I've just got my knee bent and I'm just like reaching for my tail, because you know how much I love to touch my own butt. But I'm telling you, you got to be right with it all. You got to be reaching for that middle part. You know what I say. Press back into that child, letting yourself completely reset. Inhaling and exhaling. Notice how your whole body feels, even though we were really working those hips there. The fact that your upper body is supporting you in most of it, then hopefully you feel how that engagement in your trunk then leads to that it's like you can actually feel the change and the shift in your body happening in real time. And that to me is amazing. All right, same thing. You're holding yourself in your trunk. You're only staying in downward dog as long as feels good. Start with that good stable table. Really pay attention to both your girdles, and then lift yourself into, so your girdles are engaged. You're lifting yourself into your downward dog. You're finding your balls, not your toes. Of course you can stretch your toes, because that feels great, but I want you to settle in on your balls. Inhale and exhale. Try to find always you settling in off of your toes, back there on that ball of your foot. Your heels are heavy. They may or may not touch. Your elbows are soft and not hyperextended. Your kneecaps are pulled up into your thighs. And you are moving as much or as little as feels good. Remember to come down to child, our table, to rest whenever you need it. It's always there for you. It's the ultimate boss of you. So depending on your energy level, you are always taking the cues from you. All right, from that downward dog, you're either going to walk up to the front of your space, or you're going to drop down to hands and knees and step up. I mean, it's both stepping up, but like taking as many steps as you need. Use those blocks. You're in that forward fold position. Take some time to settle back into your body here in a forward fold position. So that means weight comes off those toes. Keep those knees bent, and then once you feel supported, you move as much or as little as feels good. Dangling that upper body off of that lower body. Inhaling and exhaling, always protecting your hamstrings by keeping those knees bent. Eventually you're going to be done with that. Make sure the weight is still in that back body, keeping those knees bent. We are going to practice half hinge up. On your next inhale, flat back, halfway up. Exhale, halfway down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, halfway down. All right, this next time, if you are loving that great big, sometimes head rush you get, then do it in that reverse swan dive. But if you're like, I'd rather not this morning, then halfway up, flat back, and then keep your knees bent, press yourself up, and then lift yourself to standing, then coming into as much of a back bend as feels good, and then bringing your arms to wherever feels good as you find yourself coming into mountain. So you're engaging your whole body. You are pressing down with those balls and those heels, lifting your digits, spreading them wide, bringing them down for that gentle grip on the mat. The kneecaps come up into those thighs and you don't hyperextend the knees. And then you're doing some sort of pelvic engagement. The pelvic girdle gets in. This is inside, internally, as well as right what you can actually see. You're pulling down that back body. So it's not just squeezing the glutes, it is also engaging the framework, and then you're lifting the front body, navel, dimples down, the dimples on the back of your body. You are stiff as a board, and then navel, dimples up, you are light as a feather. Engage that upper girdle, that heart lifts, those blades pull down, and you are pressing the crown of your head in the opposite direction of your tail, and you are standing in your mountain. Inhale and exhale. Practice this mountain wherever you can. Make it natural for you to engage your whole body when you stand to do anything. When you're washing dishes, when you're standing at your desk, when you're standing in line. Pay attention and notice that engagement. And then when you relax it, notice how your body kind of, right? You get a little, it goes back into, that natural state, but it feels different and more alive. All right, so you're protecting you. You're at the front of your space. We're going to move slow because practicing the transitions. I know people are like, up and down, up and down. Why do we got to get up and down? That's how I felt going to Catholic Mass, but we won't go into there. Anyway, there's a point for it all, right? The transitions are important in yoga. Everything's got a real world application. So standing in that mountain at the top of your space, reaching into as much of a back bend as feels good. You're always the boss. It doesn't have to be a lot. And then exhaling, pull that navel up and hinge down into that forward fold. Lift yourself up halfway into that flat back, and then bring yourself down into that forward fold to either step back into plank or come right down to your knees. You're always the boss. If you're at your knees, then pull yourself forward into that knee down plank. If you're in that full plank, then breathe full and deep, and then come through knees or not down to that belly position. Really let that lower body be heavy as you gently press into those arms, keeping those cobras low to start with, and then exhaling, coming down, inhaling up to another baby cobra, exhaling, coming down. You can always turn one cheek. Third time, inhale, baby cobra, protect that low back, keep pulling those blades together. Let yourself come down, curl those toes, lift yourself into plank or knee down plank, and then up into your downward dog. Inhale and exhale. And then take your time. It doesn't matter how you make your way to the front of your space. It doesn't have to look the same every time, but hopefully it feels amazing every time. You settle in, forward fold. You lift up halfway into that flat back, and then you reach halfway down, and then you reach all the way up. Take your time. If you feel dizzy, don't make yourself dizzy if you don't want to feel dizzy. Reach into that back bend and come forward. Remember, stiff as a board with that lower body. Reach up halfway, flat back, light as a feather with that upper body, and then come back down to step back into your plank, knee down plank to release down to the belly. All right, you can come up as much as feels good. If you're ready for that full cobra, if you're ready for an up dog, if you want to stay in that baby cobra, of course, please do that. If you're like, why do we have to come all the way down onto our belly? It's because you know why. Because you do shit on the floor sometimes. All right, come up to that forward fold. Take your time, third time. Halfway, flat back, back down. Every single move, every single transition, every single pause is important. Reach into as much of a back bend as feels good. Come forward into that forward fold. Lift halfway, flat back, really engage that back body, and then step back into that plank, knee down plank. Keep those girdles engaged as you release to the belly. Keep those girdles engaged as you lift into your cobra or your up dog, and then keep those girdles engaged as you lift into your downward dog. 2 to 3 breaths there, and then rest down in your child. Make sure you're getting drinks as you need them. Inhaling and exhaling. Let yourself completely reset in a child. Notice how you feel, if there's a shift and a change. Keep practicing taking in what you need and also letting go what you don't. You have to get good at both. Both, all the time. Inhale and exhale. We've worked up some oxygenated blood. It's flowing around. Basically, I feel like when I do those sun salutations, it feels like I'm taking the blood from the bottom of my feet and throwing it up to the top of my head, and then taking the blood from the top of my head and throwing it down to the bottom of my feet. So that full circulation is so good for you. All right, stay with that deep, full breath. That is what's helping keeping that blood oxygenated. You're going to lift yourself into a downward dog or a table. Always up to you what you do. And then 3-legged dog. Lift that right leg. Inhale and exhale. Breathing full and deep. Reach that right leg up as high as feels good. Try to press evenly into the mat with your right and your left upper body. So not just your arms, but like draw yourself in half and you're pressing down with your chest as well. And this is the same thing in table as it is in downward dog. So if downward dog is too much, you can be doing it in table. All right, you're going to swing that right leg forward, and you can always be on your knees to swing that right leg forward. You're just practicing coming into those warrior one leg. So smear that left foot down. Don't hurt your knees. Keep that, I almost called them your elbows, your leg elbows. Keep pulling those kneecaps up into your thigh as you lift yourself into that warrior one. And if you don't like warrior one legs, you can bring yourself into crescent leg, which is your heel lifted. It really is up to you. Inhale and exhale, because you know what's it's still holding you up is those balls and those heels. Inhale and exhale. Don't let the toes do hardly any work. Those hands are going to come to just where your back pockets are. I don't want you to strain. If you can clasp your fingers and not strain, like not strain your delicate digits, not strain your shoulders, then yeah, do that. Not strain your elbows. But if it hurts at all, just pretend like you're putting your hands in your back pockets, and then you're going to lift your heart, and then you're going to let that heart tuck down into this humble warrior. Inhale and exhale. Keep trying to pull those hips square to each other so the glutes are square to the back of your space. Inhale and exhale, breathing full and deep. And then you're going to bring that right arm forward, left arm back to then open up into a warrior two. So you might need to move your stance wider or closer together. And now everything is open to the long edge. We went from warrior one to humble warrior to come into warrior two. Take your time. Make sure you feel steady as you hinge, right? This is what, now we're hinging over those warrior two legs. We just hinged in warrior and humble. Now we're coming into that side angle. Remember to use whatever support you need. You're not putting all your weight on your support ever. You're holding yourself in your trunk. Think about trying to pull your navel and your heart up as you bring those blades and dimples down. Inhale and exhale. Make sure you can feel the pressure, the sensation evenly between the right and the left leg, starting at your glute and hip flexor. It takes a while to really become aware of that. Up into that warrior two. Take your time. And then this is a side stretch, not a back bend, as you come into that reverse warrior. So you're stretching your side body, both sides. Think about lifting. If you feel this in your back, then you're not engaging that lower girdle enough to pull it into, to pull the stretch into that side body. If you feel it in both, then you're halfway there. Inhale, keep pulling that tail down. Keep lifting those hip flexors no matter what position you're in. That is what you are doing. Back into that warrior two. We're going to go into that triangle. Lift yourself then here. Lengthen that front leg. You are keeping that trunk engaged. Light as a feather, upper body. Stiff as a board, lower body, as you hinge into your triangle. Inhale and exhale. This is another one. If you feel this in your back, then your stance is probably too wide or you're coming down too low. So if you feel this in your back, then I want you to make your stance shorter and maybe come up a little bit until you don't, because this should all be butt right here. This is butt. Inhale and exhale. This is where we're going to use our body, our center of gravity, to pay attention to how we move. We're going to rotate over that right leg so you can then move your feet back on railroad tracks, and now you've got that left heel up. Of course, you can drop your left knee. Here's another great place for support, that left arm pressing into that block, and then keeping your navel square to the mat. Rotate just your heart. So you're just rotating your heart. Keep that low back square as you twist that heart to the right. And then you're going to bring that right hand back down on either side of that right foot. You're going to step back into your plank, your knee down plank, or your table. If you like that flow, go through a flow. If you just want to pull up into a downward dog and notice how you feel, do that. It's all up to you. Breathing full and deep. So that whole series we did with that right leg forward, hopefully you can feel the difference, right? And especially as you come through a transition and a reset, you notice the difference between your right and your left side. And then I'm going to turn around so I can stay facing you. We bring that left leg up. You come into a downward dog or a table, doesn't matter which. You are engaging that trunk. Three-legged dog, three-legged table. Play around with that. What that sensation feels like. If it makes you want to vomit, of course you don't have to do it. But yoga is, everything in yoga, I want to say it's like broccoli, right? Like you need to try it sometimes a couple times. You're going to swing that left foot up between your hand, up, and then you're going to smear that right foot down, engaging that lower trunk, pulling yourself up into your warrior one. So it's like broccoli, right? You've got to keep trying it. Everyone knows that broccoli is good. Everyone knows that Brussels sprouts are good, unless you don't like them. But it's one of those things you think, oh, I'm not going to like that. But once you taste it, oh, it's amazing. All right. Back pockets, this is as far as you need to go. I do not want you to strain. You're already straining so much, right? In those legs, using that back body to root down, using that front body to rise up, feeling that same sensation as you hinge, 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 into that humble warrior position. Breathing full and deep. And yes, that right heel can be up if that is more your jam. But you are still engaging. It's not just about your feet, right? It's never just about your feet. It's about the whole lower body. Take your time. We're going to bring that left arm forward, right arm back, and that's just going to help propel us up to standing. You might still need to adjust. I always need to come into your warrior two. Pull evenly down your back body. So that is your right glute and your left glute. Pull evenly up your front body. That is your right hip flexor and your left hip flexor. Pay attention to that left knee. Make sure those left toes are not doing all the work, and that left knee has a tendency to go towards the pinky toe. You have to actively engage the muscle in the inside and pull it towards the pinky toe side of your leg in order to get that alignment. You're going to bring your left arm down to a block or rest on your thigh. Remember, you're never bringing all your weight onto your support. Make sure that your legs always feel like you have control. They should never feel like you're out of control, like you're going to fall into a splits in any second. That should never be the sensation. You should feel like you have total and complete control. All right, lift yourself into that warrior two. Remember, this is a side stretch. So keep pulling that back body down, keep lifting that front body, stay in those warrior two legs for just a few more breaths as you come into that reverse warrior. Inhale and exhale. Breathing full and deep. And then back into regular warrior to then lift yourself. And you are not just straightening that leg, right? You're lifting with your whole trunk, especially that navel, that tail. And then you are hinging. Keep pulling that lower body down, that back body down, that front body up as you hinge into your triangle. And you really should not feel this in your back. And so if you do your stance, right, pay attention to your stance. Pay attention to how far you're coming down. Like if you're coming so far down that right side is turned down towards the floor, that's too much because you want that right side to be lifted. So come up to where that is. And then you're going to look down at your left foot. This is where you're letting that center of gravity be what, is guiding you as you come around into that runner's lunge, dropping that right heel if it feels good to you. So you're engaging that lower trunk. Keep that navel anchored, and then you are lifting and rotating that heart to the left. Inhale and exhale. Sometimes it feels like you've got when you've got that shoulder engaged, it can feel like weird. That's okay. You always know you can go for, right, like bring that wrist to right between those dimples. All right, back to the runner's lunge, to step back into the plank, the knee down plank, to move through a flow or right up to downward dog. Whatever you do, do it all the way. Feel yourself completely reset from that downward dog down to child. So you are then reaping the benefits of all that movement. Inhaling and exhaling. All right, next is squat. Doesn't matter how you get there. Remember, it doesn't have to be low, but I want your whole foot on the floor. So come to a place where your whole foot can be on the floor, and then settle there for a few breaths. Keep trying to bring that tail down and lift that heart no matter where you're at. So if you need to have a chair or stack up blocks and lift yourself up higher, turn those toes out, put the weight on your heels, and then settle back. This is still squat. I want you to practice wherever you're at. Breathing full and deep. You can even be with your hands to your heart. Lift it a little bit, but still pressing back into that squat. Another inhale and exhale. Really let yourself breathe full and deep. Navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully. Chest, ribs, navel. And then make sure you've got, if you want to come down just straight onto your stomach, that's where we're going. Take your time getting there. Drop yourself into whatever pose feels good. If that is the windshield wiper of your knees. Inhaling and exhaling. Let your upper body completely rest. Let those shoulders round. Let your head rest wherever feels good. I only got my head lifted so I can keep talking to you. Inhale and exhale. We're going to come into Sphinx Posture. So let that lower body be super heavy. So it's your whole lower body. It is the front and the back body are super heavy. You're pulling that. Find your navel and pull it up. Bring your hands right underneath your shoulders and then pull the hands forward so then the elbows are underneath your shoulders. So you set yourself up in that. So you don't want your elbows wide. You want them to be right underneath your shoulders. And you have got your hands spread. The hands really aren't doing any of the work. Really let that lower body be heavy. And then if you want to play around with coming up into a higher position, you totally can. If it doesn't hurt, this should not hurt your low back. If you get up there and you decide, no thanks, then bring yourself back down to your elbows. Inhale and exhale. Keep pulling that pelvis down. Keep lifting that heart. It takes a while to be able to do both at the same time. To pull down and anchor and to lift up and stretch. But once you get both sensations at the same time, it is flippin' magical. All right, if you're up high, you're coming down to your elbows. Everyone is lifting the elbows. Now you're splaying the elbows using your hands on the mat. Let the lower body still be heavy. Let that upper body come forward. I love that. I think that feels amazing. Inhale and exhale, breathing full and deep. Navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully. Chest, ribs, navel, back up to your elbows. Here, if you want to practice full bow, you totally can, but we're going to get that quad stretch again. I'm going to do half. Right elbow down, reaching for that left ankle, not straining, not grabbing, not hyperextending anything, always being very gentle and careful. Inhale, I want you to be the same way. Inhale and exhale. And then let yourself, if you're doing full, maybe you do full twice. You come out, you come back in. If you're doing half, you let go of that first side and then reach for your second side. Remember, it doesn't have to be this big production. It can just be this nice, gentle stretch that suits you. All right, back into that neutral position. You're going to bring those hands underneath your shoulders, lifting yourself up to come into a cat and a cow. Make sure those girdles are engaged as you lift and sway a few times in your cat and cow. And then if it feels good to you, stay in your cat. I like to then walk my knees a little bit further apart. I'm in my cat, that lower girdle's still really heavy, and then I pull myself back into just like a rounded child. It's just a little bit more. You might not like it, but I love that. It feels amazing. Inhaling and exhaling, staying with your breath and how you feel. And then bringing yourself up. From child to downward dog, to either walk your hands to the back of your space or your feet to the front of your space, to then bring yourself up to standing. Let's just do a little balance practice. I'm going to put this on though because now I'm getting a little chilly. So take your time, making sure that you're paying attention to your body. You're not hurting yourself as you move into the position that feels good for you to then come to standing. And then you're standing in your space, inhaling as you're coming into your mountain. Remember, you can always come off your mat if you do find more support. You can come near a wall. That also helps if you need support. Inhaling and exhaling. We're going to come into, we stretch these quads a lot, and we're going to do it again. We're going to do dancer. So start with practice. This is one I really like to have a wall. Actually in front of me, and I will turn this way so you can see it. I'm going to stand in that mountain. I've got my right arm just in front of me to support me. I'm going to bend that left knee. I am not straining and reach for that ankle. Whether you reach on the outside or the inside, you're not straining. And maybe right here, right, just finding that balance. Keep trying to bring those knees together. So pay attention to where that left knee is. Bring it down, have it kiss that right knee, and then only if it serves you do you let yourself hinge. Inhale and exhale. Try not to let the toes do any work. Gently press that left leg into that left arm. Inhale and exhale. Take your time. Lift yourself up. Bring your foot back down next to the other foot and just spend a couple breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. So once again, everything is connected, right? So just because you have to grab for the foot, everyone thinks that's where all the things happening. It's really happening in that lower girdle, because that's really where all the magic happens. Excuse me. Back into that mountain. Make sure you've got whatever support you need. You're going to then come into that dancer, whether it just be the leg, and you are just practicing bringing that knee to touch, or if you want to play around with the hinge, so this is you hinging into your dancer, and then when you get to where you want to hinge to, gently, by using your glute and your hip flexor, press that right foot up. And your right arm, then you're keeping the elbow, the kneecap for your arm, and your shoulder protected. And then you are bringing yourself up to come back into standing. Inhale and exhale. Notice how you feel. Reach those right arms up above your head. Let the left arm just sneak down your side. Press evenly with your whole lower body as you stretch to that one side. Inhale. You can also bring your hand to your hip if that feels good. Inhale and exhale. Stay grounded as you lift, then stiff as a board, light as a feather. Right arm sneaks down, left arm sneaks up, right? The heart is lifted, blades pulled down, your navel is lifted, your hip flexor is lifted. You are squeezing your glutes and your framework as you stretch to that other side, the right side, and then bring both arms up. And then let your elbows bend and come into goalpost arms. Remember to keep that pelvis engaged so then you can come into that back bend position. So really bear down with that lower body, and the toes, don't let them do the work. And then hands to your heart, navel, one of each, out to the side. Notice how you feel. To then make your way down to, whether it be the front of your space or the back of your space, to come into downward dog, or to come right down to child. Maybe you are ready to rest in child. You don't want to rest in downward dog for any time. Inhale and exhale. Stay with your breath. So we're going on to our back next. After you rest in child, make sure you get your layers near you if you took them off. Come onto your back. When you're ready, keep pulling that back body down. Keep lifting that front body. Even in the laying down positions, all that stuff is happening. And the more you get familiar with how your body works, it's a dream then to move around. So keep your feet on the floor and just windshield wiper if that what feels good. But if you can keep your glutes on the floor and then lift those feet and rock and circle, of course do that. Inhaling and exhaling. We're going to come into one little bridge position. So make sure that pelvis, you can use the diamond, the clock, navel is 12, pubic bone is 6, 9 and 3 are hip flexors. Try to get that into that same plane. Like I've talked about how I have to really crank my pelvis into position for it to then be at that place to support me. You might not have to do that much work, but I have to do a lot of work. All right, then keeping that pelvis in position, lift to your shoulder blades. Only roll those shoulders under if it feels good to you. Do not strain knuckles or elbows or shoulders ever, never for this pose. Keep pulling that back body down. Keep lifting that front body up. If you do have your shoulders rolled under, you're going to bring them out, and then everyone's going to come down one vertebrae at a time. Let your glutes be last, and then reset with rocks, circles, windshield wipers, whatever feels good. Inhale and exhale. And then back with the feet on the ground. Let's bring that right ankle to the left knee. And yes, we're going to do that pigeon posture, but we're not going to do it yet. So before we go to that pigeon posture, though, I want you got your right knee, right ankle on your left knee. You got your right knee bent. So then bring your right arm out, shoulder engaged, palm on the ground. And then those left hands are just dancing behind that left ear. I want you to think about your underarm and your left breast, and that is what I want you to lift to that right knee, letting that right arm just slide on the floor. Try not to bring that left elbow towards your right knee. So if you're doing that is going to be straining. I want you to not strain ever, right? It's never about the strain. Inhale and exhale. A few of these obliques. You're keeping that right shoulder blade on the floor. You're just lifting that left shoulder blade just a few inches. You're going to bring your left side down. You're going to bring your left upper body down. You're going to bring your right lower body down. Take a few breaths in between, and then set yourself up for the other side. So left arm, palm down, is on the ground, and then you are lifting the chest, the armpit, towards that left knee. So you're lifting the right breast, the right armpit, not the elbow. Keep tucking your chin. If this is too much for your neck, you can always reach with just your arm, and you start to get the stretch a little bit. Few more. Inhaling and exhaling. And then you're going to pause. Bring both feet down. Do whatever feels good. Inhale and exhale. Let yourself extend out on your mat. Bring those feet together and press through those heels. You're doing all the same stuff. Pulling that back body down, lifting that front body. Keep your chin tucked. Now, gently clasp your fingers, but I don't want your knuckles to be too tight because I don't want you to hurt those delicate digits. But you can have your hands clasped gently behind your head. And when you do that, then your thumbs are down your neck, keeping your elbows really wide if you want to give yourself a little neck massage. So find that place that you can't really see what I'm doing here, but I'm giving myself a neck massage right underneath my ears, like I'm stimulating that lymph node that's right there behind your ears. Moving around, getting some. The minute I touch it, I can feel the difference. All right, then stop your massage, press through those heels. Now you're going to pull those elbows together. Keep that shoulder girdle engaged, so you're not going to be able to pull the elbows all the way together. And then lift at the shoulder girdle up into, try to look, point your elbows towards your toes, try to look at your toes. And you're letting your head rest in your arms. You're not straining. Inhale and exhale, and then let yourself lengthen back down. Let the arms come out from underneath you. And then rock, circle, windshield wiper, whatever feels good. And then come into that pigeon pose now. Right ankle on left knee. You can stay right here, flexing both your feet. If you want to pop that left foot up off the floor, you can even bring it to a block. Keeping those legs engaged, keep bringing both glutes down evenly onto the floor. If you want to reach and gently clasp behind that left thigh, right? You're never hurting yourself. You're never clasping on for dear life because there's delicate tendons and stuff in that back of that leg, so you want to always be careful. Inhale and exhale. If you've lifted your head, try to keep your neck long as you bring it back down. And if you can't reach your leg with your head down, then use some sort of help, whether it be a scarf or a strap. All right, if you do have that left foot up, you're going to unclasp and bring it down. I want you to slide that right knee on top of that left knee, and then let your body, your legs, your navel is what is going to the left as your heart stays anchored. Inhale and exhale. So try to pull those legs together, those knees together. Use that left foot on the floor. You're going to lift yourself up, your navel and your heart line back up. Keep your legs the way they are, and now gently pull that, use that right leg to pull that left leg over to the right. So you feel that stretch down your inner thigh. Same thing, heart is anchored, so keep that left shoulder blade pressed into the floor, and your heart or your navel is what goes the other way. And then bring yourself up. And if you didn't start with the legs the way I said, hopefully you got that. Doesn't matter. We end up going in all the different directions. Reset, and then now I'm going to bring my left ankle to my right knee. Engage both legs. Coming into that pigeon posture. Inhale and exhale. Breathing full and deep, only coming to the place that feels good to you. So that might not be the same on this side, depending on how your body is. And that is okay. You are treating yourself with kindness, compassion, and love, no matter what is going on. You're breathing deep in the moment, staying with awareness of your whole body, and then come out of the pigeon, drop that left knee on top of that right knee, arms are out, so you are supported, and then let your legs fall to the right to come into the twist. So the heart stays anchored, the navel rotates to the right. And then using that right foot, you lift yourself up to then rotate that. Now that left leg gently pulls that right leg, and you can feel that IT band stretch. Keep pulling your tail down, both glutes, so you protect that low back. Eventually, you're going to be back into upright position or neutral position, and then you're going to rock, and you're going to circle. And then if you want to come into happy baby, come into happy baby right here. Inhale and exhale. Breathing full and deep. Your legs never have to straighten. Please don't strain. Same thing here. You're pulling that back body down, lifting that front body no matter what you're doing. You're only moving as much as feels good. And then keeping that back body pulled down, bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees open up. So this is where you can make fists, or your blocks can also work. You can bring your block so it rests right underneath your glute. So it's a little bit of a supported butterfly. And if you're like, I want more sensation, you can bring your hands, or if you've got sandbags, on the tops of your thighs and go for that opening of your thighs. You're in charge of how close your feet are. Just be here to your body. Be here for a few breaths. Inhale and exhale. Your hands can be wherever feels supportive. Keep your neck long. Find that space between your thoughts. Don't move to the next thing. Just be with your breath right here, right now. So if you went for the press, you remove. If you went for the support, you remove. Everyone brings their legs together, and then you rock and circle. And then here's a few moments of yogi's choice. Going into that heart opener. So the one I'm going to do, it's a really big one, but I've got my girdles engaged. And then I am going to stretch that upper girdle. So my lower girdle is anchoring me and rooting down and staying engaged. And then I'm stretching that upper girdle, trying to lift, especially that front rib cage. This really has made a difference. That upper cross, which everyone has, mine is different and better because I do this. But you can't be here for a long time because it's way intense. After a while, reaching my arms up tends to make them tingly, so I got to bring them back down. If you're in a more restorative pose, maybe pull your shoulder blades together. Now, gently squeeze them if you're on your bolster or blankets. And if you gently squeeze your shoulder blades together, you notice how it lifts your heart a little bit. That is what you are looking for, that engagement. Inhale and exhale. Make sure you come out supporting yourself. And then you're going to settle in. And now that we've practiced, take some time doing whatever feels good to you to settle in then on your relaxation. So if you've got 5, 7, 8, 10 minutes to lay and completely let this practice integrate into your body, please do. If you'd rather sit in meditation, this is the perfect time to just be with your breath and your body and continue that practice of being aware. And then also you can practice more compassion for yourself because, right, depending on what you got going on or how life is affecting you, you can have that busy brain. And so sometimes it's harder than others to really settle in, but you can do it. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste. Bye.